The Tale of Genji, Teishi, Murasaki Shikibu. Upcoming Ask for Your Mountain of Hodochikaki Method Amaneshi. Or a look Lusanari Kir, Akiko. There was a high priest of personality to say that Yokagawa, a certain bishop of that time, Hiei 80, had a mother and sister of about 50 beyond the. This parent-child of Nunkun was pilgrimage to Hatsushi of Yamato to play gun was over long ago. Bishops of them were doing so accompanied the acharya you were intimate with or apprentice. Buddha is a memorial of Kyokun in Hatsushi was performed. In addition to the better since I was the crosses mountains that Narasaka of the way home to many. That the merits of large Nunkun also became ill. And the unexpected may also would this leave the with up to Kyoto no matter what. The people of the line was to be rested and stopped one day to the people who knew Uji worried. House condition is getting worse because in was the way to Yokagawa issued a use of the news. Bishop it was had sworn in mind that you do not get off from this year all over the mountain. Came aged mothers supposed to be to die in the journey to Uji immediately troubled breast and unexpected must although it is not Nunkun also at the age be miss another when viewed from the other. Filial devotion deep bishop landlord themselves if. Also the turmoil in this room that has been well ordered well as to Genwa sumunk the efficacy of prayer in the disciple heard. Because that person was time that the show Jinkasai for pilgrimage Matake have become the people of the elderly serious illness rising anxiety and unexpected might become. When Shikagir of the house. Annoying likely here you're talking in the shade. To have been sorry seems to be the thing reason. Also the house is narrow. Because the parlor also dirty. But had become is sick enough to be already accompanied to Kyoto. It blocked the direction for the god of yin and yang road. Because the none unexpected is go back is toward the princes of the residence. In the Goryo of Suzaku Institute became Ryu died. A place called Hospital of Ujis should be in the near the bishop remembered. This person knew the hospital Mamoru one. And due to ask and let me be a 2-day stay. Just yesterday said he went along with the family to Hatsushi. The old man of meager keeper use came back with. Would you do not have to in there now once Gara and we have in addition to the main room you. Use will come. Hatsushi and the direction to come to Nara will always staying to there. The old man said, so it is fine, because would be comfortable not some other people but it is residents of Kanyu. Bishop is saying, also issued and saw a disciple. The old man of the keeper is not accustomed to greet these travelers. It came to pick and finish the simple equipment in a short period of time. Bishop went to the nun earlier than you guys. If it is the place to be the feel horrible have very rough bishop is looked at her. Bow like us read the sutra. I had to say and the like. An acharya, which was carried out to Hatsushi. Whether another person as much of the monk was concerned about the what. The back of the garden is to have a firebrand to one person who is a worthy strong dressed in. Junior monk has become a place which is not common to people. I went around looking at the better of the place of the large tree that Shigeru appreciable weather forest. And looking at I think is a bad place a feeling of gets into your eyes half spread of what white in there. When viewed by Brighton the firebrand stood still that it would be what is there. It was the appearance of the person who sat. I wonder fox is garbled. If non-delivered, I'll represent seeing the true colors. It is one of the acharya, which said that was about to close to the little white thing. I may leave Oyoshi, is a bad thing. Well I stopped saying the other one of the acharya, but had been formed a mark of finger dismiss a change. Had watched the truly the better. Well it's to be remembered the horror of the more hair would stand on end. Monk with a torchlight is to show the boldness to mindlessly. And look good to go to close. It has a hair that was shiny long. Large roots of depending rough to the was of a woman crying badly. It is rare. I feel that you want to apply to your eye of the bishop like. Yes but strangely 10 million. And to say, one of the acharya went to report to the teacher. while a fox is garbled to the people as heard from the old days. There is no possibility that still he had seen. This says while Bishop came caged to the garden. In none after you guys who have completed fuss servant of men and women to prepare as bring in a variety of things to come move to here. Only 4, but only 5 people were also out to see the garden of suspicious things. And I saw a little while ago not be changed a little suspicious and was looking even as it moves to the next time. Early good once unite on. People or something will be better Miki Wamayo. And say, reading the song of mantra in mind, whether it was making the mark, was revealed to that end. The bishop is. This is a man, not in any way suspicious ones. May, but asked by Tabakwit. Dead is not. Alternatively was if a discarded those who died unexpected may have been resuscitated. And he said, would not do that. This hospital there that it is not possible to throw away the dead people into. Even if there is a truth of human beings. Things are something Fox Toka would alcohol is brought to kidnapping the old try. There by pity. Let there a place such to live in such a demon. Quote, if one of the Acharya said, it was also Bukimi answer of Yamahibiki when you try to call the old man of the keeper. Okina's estranged rest. Came out in the fu out per the face. What you been inhabited by people of the young woman here. But such a thing is happening. Say it when viewed as. It is the work of a fox. This Trianon showed the sometimes Katai thing. Yes, to the year before last fall also come to take from you in a 2-year-old and you people of the children living here discarded here or was. But we of ya does not even particularly surprised had accustomed. Does the child was dead? No, I come to life. Foxwell is such an alarmist but come on those helpless. It seems to think without any flame. Although I eat till late at night will came out sniffing the smell. Ordeal might work in such a thing. See well to time ago, but good. Bishop was this commanded, his disciples. Monk that did not show a tremor from the beginning went closer to buckwheat. Do ghost, or god, or fox, would alcohol or, should not be able to hide the identity in before the come of the high priest. See to say the name, when the draw by hand the end of the kimono to say. That person is more and more pride drawn into the collar of the face. It's easily taught with no ghost or hide tat trying to hide the face. But was to try to see the face while saying this. Even the eyes. Such as the heart is in the folk tales of horrible and unexpected maybe no woman demon knows. From the desire to want to notify the bravery to the people. Pull the kimono undress intoxicated too. That person is made to utsubushi. Cry a stand even voice. Because what in such a strange appear case also is that the world does not to reign while you are all of wanted to see what happens to the last. Was likely to have become increasingly strong down. Let's die if you put this state. Also let's put up to the fence of the place. When one person says, it's a figure of the true man. Sad thing is keep discarded while I know of is impaired of the human life. Not help pond of fish. That the dying trapped in humans in the mountains of deer because of a very sad is put in. If because of a human life is short. If life can keep that one day. It alone should not kept. Also fascinated by the demon or god. Also discarded placed people bin. Even in people who were supposed to meet in these eyes. Such as evil Dakumi. It's a do not die in destiny. Because he will be the next to death. But a thing that should become Buddha is our salvation sure. Or may be alive. Let's try to be. Such as whether to drink hot water with a little more attention. But I just cannot be helped if die. Quote, the bishop said, while nestled in the strength shy of the monk the cause carried into the house. Some of the disciples, I wish, but I can superfluous. Heavy Sikhi is to the place of. It becomes to be not interesting result occurred as tainted then take what might be enigmatic. There was also a person who is accused. Also, whether those changes. Because that before one's eyes still from being to die so struck by the people who are living in such heavy rain pity should. There was also those who say, I think that since the person below is intended to spread a rumor things to large, was allowed to sleep a person who has picked up to so much of the better of the shadow that does not come nearer people parlor. Arrived the nun princes of the car. Everyone's clamoring to say that the suffering went when a large nun-kun is unloaded. The disciples' bishop from a little subsided. What happened to that lady? And I inquired. Suppliant to have been also does not say what? Certainly not also seems to have revived. Will people have taken the soul to something? The hearing is nun-kun of the sister of the bishop to have this answer. What there you know? I asked. And it was there is such a thing bishop said. I was in that you've never seen yet, but alive 60 years. Listening to say, nun-kun. Well, I had a dream that was seen when you have your confined in Hatsusi. Coming from you will, please show me anyway, was the nun-kun said while crying. I was put immediately on the other side of the yarido. Please visit soon. Nun Mr. heard the words of his brother went hastily to the better. Nobody beautiful young people that had been done Izu strike to buckwheat. Wearing a white eye of clothes one pile. Wore a skirt of red. Only incense smell is equipped with poor even without the high dignity. My love have grieved at being dead daughter would have came back and nun-kun said. Was allowed to put embrace doing the wife to own room. Woman who discovered location is not known whether there was a thing in Ibukimi is thinking of did. It as well as horrible. But nor is it as alive. When I looked up and drilled in the feign indeed the eyes. What'll you say? What do you Irasharu become something like this? Door but nun-kun tried to say. Still swoon state continues. By Kisa with hot water to such as purse poured from itself to the mouth. But the weakness was seen as just going to join. I can pick up this person and also I wonder unexpected must taste the sadness that would not die. Do nun-kun said. This person is dying. Please refer to the blessings. I asked to Acharya went to Hatsusi. So was that said that what is wasteful bother? The man muttered, but was praying to read through for possession kimono. Bishop also a little come to there. What is good, but to say to elaborate Mononoke well what was said. And he was saying, but the woman looked like a life fade away weakly at any moment. Seems difficult. Supposed to touch the stunning unexpected Shikigare. It would not be out of here. Because thinkish man of identification. Dead also will not be discarded as it is. Each other takes on the trouble as that thing was. Quote, disciples eyes are talking about such a thing. Please to well quiet. Please do not say that this person to person. Because you do not go to the trouble occurs. Keep in a verbal promise in. None you are hooked that they want ikase even if no matter how this person then the parent of the disease had been along quietly like a caring person. Although there was a person who do not know. Because the appearance was a very beautiful person. It is spared and do not want to die in this state. Which my wife was also the all well taken care of. Indeed sometimes it is like looking up with open eyes. But I always saw the tears. Well sad. I wish Buddha instead of my misdead child and I think those who smoked it going to come led to me. Is delighted. Turn this state as contrary to previous underneath will be me to the pensive. Karma is you must me that you became what Koshite come across it. If any. Somehow tell you a thing even a little. Quote, after that it was said this lengthy, finally. Even I can live. Please go down to the river do not show it to you will find a man who does not need to another. World. People. Sick in a low voice said. What pleased nun-kun that began to say unusual things case also thought. That's apt to become well why say you such a thing, it became come why in such a place. Even if asked. I did not say anything anymore it alone with, was examined I think that it would be made up and perhaps the wound on the body. But the flaw seems flaw without any. Just because I was just beautiful. The mind is filled with surprise. And even remember the sadness. The actual brother of his disciples say so. You mid also a while of human heart be of the change was also suspected of appeared in such. Appearance in order. The party is staying here for about 2 days. The prayer for the young lady picked up the old nun. Voice of the blessings had been heard without constantly. In people of the village of Uji. When the man was be served before the bishop is listening to the hospital, lot of talk came to visit to hear the bishop is staying in Uji. In the princess of the previous 8 of the temple like. Who became come through the right general is. We become a commotion around here to say that became suddenly you died without even much of your disease. It's I could not hear yesterday from what was done or to help your funeral. Quote, has also said such a thing. Nun-kun, which is thought whether there is in some of the souls of those lady demons brought deprive. This person, now is looking to the eye seems like a person disappear without a trace. Nearly also I thought the princess was horribly also picked up, wife at all. Last night light that looked from here but I'm seen with light of such a large field-based feed. And say, I was nasu to bother easy. It was this kind of explanation. Because it is the man who touched the shikadare say that must not approach the house of the sick. It was repelling only was the stood talking. The General Mr. Ark newsletter. The wife of the Princess 8 of the temple. Though said that standing is time another dive passed away. No one of it will say a Himamiya and is allowed to get married because those who are to thing not even supposed to be you have a such as such hidden mistress. Both Nun-kun was saying. Large nun mister of the disease had healed. And since it is that you no longer even touch of direction. Saying that there is no regards or you long and place to see that it was enigmatic such strangeness. One line of the bishop was supposed to go home. I picked up the lady still looked weakly. The middle is a worry. Wives and is that painfully had Ia. To ride the single of the bishop in Dayama Mr. Car on a 2-seater that is to serve the people. The next car carrying with itself the people of the nun Mrs. Disease. In addition to one person they came out and put the wife. It was or to drink hot water to the sick and stop in places without go through with the car. The nun, in a place called Sakamoto of Ono of Hiei had you guys in the house. Journey to it was longer. I arrived back in the middle of it and late at night to also Ono while saying I should have thought. A place to rest home. Bishop is the mother. It was none you were allowed to rest in wholesale embrace everyone to take care of this insidiously. People, on the age of Nun-kun not to have the always excellent health. Because there was an after a distant journey. Bishop went back to the temple of Yokogawa in order to then seem to fu was complete recovery. Finally, although not for a while suffering, because things like that came accompanied by a young woman of the sick person that may the only original was to none in good rumor as a monk. I did not speak anything to people that does not know from the beginning. None could also be then have the verbal promise to the people who have accompanied. That I think that if there was some people come in looking for if it had been in anxiety this person. Why would have fallen so that this person has been spilled in place or of that country's only. So people who like stepmother that the person who pilgrimage even to Hatsusi got sick in the middle. Was allowed discarded in bad faith if it arrow. Came to such of imagine in these days. Yet in addition to a word I said and I want to sink to the river I thought without any news from. Was not saying anything until now. Although or none Mr. Hope and I would like to cultivate in hand with them to the health. Time without both likely get up while sleeping up to. Because that person was in critical condition a state. Then will die with weakness in this state as it is thought whether or not did not even indifferent. Distant likely of those. And even dream of the story that we saw in Hatsusi. Acharya and Nun-kun also had been allowed to pray from the beginning and Uji had gently to the prayer. Still none Mr. massaging the mind that no Hakabaka Shiku wrote a letter to the place of the bishop. I please help me of sick now. Please come down the mountain. For those who was able to have to not die until a serious condition such as the addition today. It seems that something is not of surely possessed have the misfortune physician. My Buddha of your brother. But it may be no regards become out of you until to Kyoto. It just us is put up to here, there is not a not also be racking you're confined, and the like, were those who continued to say as switching wishes. It is that strange, the people that were folded without dying yet until now. There is no difference in the dead of course if doing out at that time. Precisely because there was a previous student of fate. So was also supposed to find yourself will allow. Let us broke the bone to help even where the attempt. If was a life that cannot be stopped by it. Bishop got off the mountain I think let give up any the person's work is exhausted. Glad I thought Nunkun told the course of the up to now while worship the bishop. The thing that somehow six seems Kimiwaru of things that people to the so long suffer come out. Naturally, there is no such a thing. Rather than Fu, which declined even a little. I clean and pure, I guess from being alive while also looks critically ill because it is such a person. Quote, Nunkun were to say cheerfully love the sick from sincerity. I was a man of rare beauty from when I saw the beginning. There's what way, and say, Bishop was except for the hospital room. That's the actual beauty this person was excellent. The before but wonder to obtain such appearance was born in reward of merit in the production. Was also supposed to meet in these eyes there is any touch in the fate would. Something I've heard the story. Such as come to mind from another. Quote, I do not have any need to think such a thing as I do not think. People is what canon to me Hatsusi was smoked kita. Dunankun says, I will have it in its order. Because there is no one coming out of people from nothingness. Such as the bishop says, began a dual cultivation for a mysterious woman. Yourself even summons from the court is muffled to decline to mountain. To anyone think bishop and is that the trouble it becomes the reputation that has a prayer on its own because of the woman. Not even know. His disciples that said, was to hide and to hear the voice of the dual cultivation in person. The bishop and his disciples say rather better the lot of condemnation. In quiet to but good. Himself of no kin monk. But would be there were many that had been defeated without knowing the Buddha of the commandments. Not subject to reproach still of the people more than just about the woman. He finds himself negligence did not years to participate in that there is no way be subject to condemnation of the world is now past. The 60 would be conventions from the previous generation. Quote, and he said, is bad interpreted epithets favorite people. It will help you there is to be a flaw of the root of Buddhism if measure standing reputation. Disciples not happy was this kind of answer. And even as a very a decision in the absence of efficacy between the dual cultivation that of their own after the staring, which was continued until dawn, was transferred to Mononoke to other people, make the story and what things afflict the people to this therefore. The disciple of Acharya was the Toradori to also Kaji. It did not come a little also appeared since last month when doing so Mononoke began to say things. Or Kurasa the law, come to yourself here. But was a monk well to the working of the Buddha when the living is not a person that would be so. Kurasa, because it was left behind in this world a little bit of a grudge. You cannot enter nirvana while wander. Will be settled to the place where also several people of the beautiful people. One person but had to die. It is this person grudge against life from itself. Because I like the day and night sides that when a die really of their own well is convenient to approach. I came to take those by herself in the dark night. However, due to the canon as he guarded in the variety, had finally lost to the bishop. The other home, this is the was told to shout. Who is so say those who? But askin, probably because people who had been transferred was less of discern a simple person. I could not have without that say it to Sumabaraka. When the princess of Yukafune the mood at this time you consciousness look around is a little bit certainly, but not know the face as one person, everyone aged monk, because I was only none who distorted the face. Into the unknown country I feel that came was very sad too. It will be trying to remember that of the previous. where they lived also was what cannot be called from even Shikado memory that there was a yourself with people that, but it had been up to the consciousness that went to throw himself to the decision to the incoming water. And when I recalled the past, how the will came to where been thought to that it is already unbearably sad alive. Try to go outside to open the sumato after the sleeping person's house, and because the wind was also a raka, sound of kawanami is blowing strongly. Become horribly to be one person, but was down from the edge without looking, even think back and forth down the foot. Not even know may be performed by pointing to either. Cannot be too late, go back into the house. While Omo Itachi care strongly suicide, as it is motionless veranda while saying in the mouth, and I want you to do anything to die to eat yourself and demons and fit to shame, such as those found in people to lean have been the place to came out clean man, referred to as being let in blue me, hugging the feel of the go, think it in my being is better to name as the temple like it was. But it was like a thing which is directly stupefaction. Look at the insidiously to the place to sit down myself, the man was gone. Yourself become such a thing. I think that was not even achieved suicide for the purpose. But I think I was crying badly things from it, I do not remember anything. It seems was just a listen and then many days of telling the people now. Yourself that no matter how expose the abomination in front of the people. Ashamed to think that what has been received, no matter how insidiously of people took care of him, and at length as if shame appears to be the head of resuscitation as of now in, but rather to swoon state in which was today was a princess of Yukifune also have to eat sometimes. Those not aware, now, do not try to drink even a little bit of hot water. Why would you like to show you just the food, not rely so much? It is also gone to heat the other much. Disease burden is to I am willing to look like left from you. It says, the caretaker was nervous that the nun wife had to take care not to leave the buckwheat. Other wives also wish your kaifuku of Yukifune of regrettable beauty took care with all your all sincerity. Although the heart of Yukifune was the wish to die somehow even now. Because I was the life of the person who survived even when that dangerous not come approach death once. This person is transported toward the kaifuku I went. Finally will be able to raise their heads. Meals lean of faith and in the rather heavy disease by the time you got to also have been seen. Glad that rambling life of this person. To be glad is nun-kun and will them become healthy. No, please to the nun, because you'll get used to feel that maybe living once you become so. And say, Yukifune wanted the priest painfully to you and why you are to do that. Do nun-kun said, cut a little hair of the top of the head. We're subjected to only 5 commandments. Only it cannot be the peace of mind it, but could not speak with me to realize it is correct to Sakashij. Mountain of the bishop is. It's all right now. It would be good if quit to sugary you a complete recovery in this much of a place to Buddha. I went back to the temple in Okoshi with expected nun-kun so that a person is one that appeared as also not unexpected dream willing to Yukifune of life kaifuku, caused recommended by force, was doing combed the hair on its own. It is a hair that had been beaten out medium long disease, but is not unduly as disturbed, and would graded combing also loose and soon tangled, looked beautiful outluster to shiny, into people, such as one toast trivial unexpected Sugamagami 100 years. Also it seems to came raining beautiful angel, such as blinding danger that if not a figure to be drowned out without trace of it was supposed to make remember the none you would why is human nature to you do not know. I wish it may either no matter how I love you, I will become just to things hidden in person what that house where why places like that Uji it came the now come in to the princess of eagerly heard by Yukifune from nun-kun was ashamed. Did you forget every one of which had been suffering from heavy? I do not remember what was in anywhere in what way even a little bit. I miss out on a place close to the garden every evening there Rashu was looking at the scenery. and came out people from the shadow of such a large tree that was near when I feel that took me. Well, my otherwise things, via who I do not remember. Quote, the princess is set in food dainty. I do not think I want to be known to everyone that we are still alive. And I know it is human thank Kanashu. I cried told Nun-kun because it was fulus as painful to be heard did not try to ask him any more. The people who might furniture and princess as a valuable discovery then Wang found in the bamboo. Was Nun wife. Not have been considered the anxiety that the unexpected may disappear from any gap. People of this house was also noble. Although the younger Nun-kun was the wife of a high-ranking official. After it has Shinoa cared a good people. Have cherished brought up the daughter, no than one person. It can be a son-in-law a good young nobleman. Enjoying the care than it had been. But the daughter died become ill. It become very sadness none as the king moved to this mountain village. Zure to hope they were people wanna find the person that can think also miss the daughter. Of a keepsake without any time to forget is surprising. Because the appearance was also the state also he picked up the princess that Masa to the dead child. The reality it is impossible to think. Even for an able. Was a Nun-kun you are happy while Iabumi whether go on of this happiness without change. Year is clean but to say. Goods well. There was a place where noble also to the intercession of the body. Here than Sanzo stomach of Uji of Yukafune it was tender is also quiet sound of water. To make of the garden there is Yahweh. Good appearance of the tree is all. Shrubs and grass in front of the implant also had been made well. In autumn the color of the sky becomes so tantalizing melancholy of the people. Temple of the field is made by the time you mow the rice. The country seems to event thing. Young woman is singing a song in a high voice not happy once it was. Interesting also the sound of Naruko drawn Yukafune were to be recalled in the fall lived in Hitachi. In the back and such as mountain cottage there. But that evening had the Miya Sunda Koro of fog in the same Ono. Because was a house that was leaning against the mountain. Mitsuka fell in deep garden. The sound of the wind in place for the lonely I think. Everyone is made to Surezure deed voice of before the Buddha to be the only was wet the lonely. Heart, play the harp and the like Nun-kun is the month of the bright night. Man named Major General of the Nun had served the opponent playing the pipa. Would be boring is not one. You like the music, do Nun-kun had said to the princess. Once upon a time also have been limit your brought to the countries that go of the mother. Quietly yourself or even not to the practice but so was became a person not know the end of things. Tasteful, of such year when people even of music princess of Yukafune in seasons to see the air enjoying the road was of being recalled pathetic past of its own. And even if Hakanama and was myself could not have had any belief. To Tenarai, someone kept she over ties to Hayaki shallows of the river of tears she threw himself. I had written a song like this. Themselves and would only be in the future if you from the past that does not put out to pick up. The good thing we come to continue the same Hakume road has become even Utomashiku. Guest's poem A Bright Night Woman who is placed on each is pretentious song of the month. But was to the old memories story. Princess of Yukafune that cannot be mixed into the just to keenly to the pensive. Or leaning in over in the cracking or coot fleeting life in the capital of the month do not know. These songs were also poems when you decided to commit suicide. But were many people who thought wanna see you again. It will not be remembered so that of other people. My mother would be grieved no matter how. Nanny to look at is somehow or may unexpected that course of events to have a hurry and want to let. Give the happiness of decent in their own. Would be no doubt was discouraged. Now well where you are. Is he still alive there is no should you I know that there. Leave no person that fits the mind. That even seasons is that you had to have a friendship with no say, separated from the master slave was Yukafune to be recalled. Because the young woman was that it is impossible to live to give up the world to the house of this mountain. Such a wife is Izu. Seventh Amisugata had long been used. Only 8 people were wife of the ordinary. In humans. Et al. Or something daughter Toka grandson of the people. Also or Yumiyazuke in Kyoto. And also of being in a normal household there is to come out from time to time. There is also that such people to enter and exit to the place of the parties of the era Uji. It is to be in a very embarrassing if was supposed to become known also in general is also the temple of living of their own. Whatever the route came to here unexpected might be a bad imagination. From shame to think that since it was not a person of the road that he stepping correctly in the past. Princess did not that show never figure on the people of Kyoto. Nun-kun had been the dojo that the wife and Komoki the chamberlain to the princess with. Appearance even nature also were those difficult compared to the city of the women of the old days. What to wear things that another world is the people of the world also seems that it would be this. Something like this a yukafune, you're just hiding in person. The tedious lead to as say the people have to the public. So I think with it from also none Mr. Reason and the will of some mystery you want to flee now. Detailed I had tried not to inform also to the people of the house. Old son-in-law of Nun-kun had become lieutenant general in the current. Brothers to visit the Zen brother is muffled in the mountains become a disciple of the bishop was. Well up to the temple. Lieutenant general because they hit the road to go to Yokogawa is closer to the occasional visit. The nun Mr. Ono. Hear the prepayment of the voice. The good man of the goods has come into the gates. The princess of Yukafune looking at the house. Seen in a Sayaka the came Kaoru of illusion went in the fu unexpected conspicuous even that Uzi too. Sanso it was. Happy people there. But that was accustomed to live in a lonely house. With each other to make the per clean. Pink planet and fence also form well. Amadashi, young and a variety of Karajinu appearance to bloom died was implantation of the garden. Such as bellflower attendant as men. Lieutenant General was also had come to say in the same costume. Since the south-facing seat to the parlor is provided sat down to there. He had looked around the sides to show a seal which sank. Year 27 or was 8. Looked like a well-equipped man prime. Was making a state in which you want to show not unwise. Nun-kun was talk coming up to the mouth of Fusumako of the next room. After you cry a little. By now long of only the month and day. While it toss a feel, such as those referred to as that era as far the world is. And I think that the you please come as Gwangmi, which is served in the mountain village. Even now I am wondering if not sincerely a way to be waiting for you. Quote, listening to say Lieutenant General become moist feeling. I not even when you do not think of it long ago. Against advocating that it has detached from the world now of your life. Such as so come by. And Hazuka Shiku, their own that are trapped in the old thing. You it has become to neglect even the Itasu visit. My brother has a Yamagamori also become envious. I mile well to the temple of the bishop. Because the thing is a lot of people that by all means want to accompany. To your deviation the by now results that are obstructed. But was also rude. Came refused conveniently the guys today. Quote, I had to say, whether made to your grudge against Yamagamori is. Rather all seems to epidemic rash of these days. And thankfully our aspirations is not to forget the old days has changed with the modern trend. That I think I heard your rumor thank cover. It says that such was a nunyu. Is Mizumeshi to those who came with the entertainment. The Lieutenant General issued as such as fruit of the lotus. Since it was also a Lieutenant General that you can feel free here. Or to such a snack. Been stopped from even go out for it began from the cage of showers had pulled the still keenly and was talking to a nunyu. The son-in-law Mr. was delicate of information then it has lost a daughter that got lost in the house of a person. The method comprising heartbreaking to more than Nun-kun. Daughter why did not Aika also left in the keepsake gift from the harder Tanai weather? Was because was a great pleasure to thus receive the Lieutenant General of the visit to Tomisaka. likely to be would come out to be even with the mouth that you are important secret. Princess of Yukifune remember a lot of different sadness from the nun-kun about the old days. His very beautiful face that contains look the better of the garden. There is only white on the one hand saying the same white. In single clothing that looks miserable in the eyes. Have been allowed to wear a hakama also read to a dark probably because that was accustomed to make. A hakama of cypress bark color of the nun. Is also such a thing while that one not was similar to the one wearing the old days princess's eye. Think. The fearfully a figure which was directly wearing was able to receive only the beautiful. Feel this person. Wife says. Even though it has already been felt became these days come back the princess became died. Finally that era will occur illusion that it is now made to come even lieutenant general like. As expected the old days if possible to wanna push to the princess and your husband and wife. Would you two well become suits? Also are you talking about such a thing enter the ear of Yukifune? I think it is also unexpected depend. Back to an ordinary woman of life. Any such people and also case that the marriage to do not think trying to. Thereby will be to people just think yourself just the old days from. And the other those about herself absolutely my maid. And I thought the princess of Yukifune and want to forget the old days. After that retracted into the inner is Nun-kun. Lieutenant General remember the boredom to a view of the rain. Not mountain down, was summoned to the buckwheat when there is a sound familiar to the voices of people such as Major General. Whether I will be old familiar people are now also of all is he here. Even if there is time to try to think. Me that I no longer can also be natural such a visit. Also everyone is thought to heartless as it will be folded take. Such a thing Lieutenant General said. Because there was a good friends had served also to Lieutenant General wife. After you have the memories talk about old wife. By the time I was through the end of the earlier corridor. The wind is blowing badly. To doubt the blind moves noisy. From between its eyes. Because ordinary hair from that of the wife drew back of people who do not think I saw. I was surprised and who is he to come to your residence of none like us. Quote, and Lieutenant General began to say, Princesses I think the Major General that it would have seen the back figure that became you go to. The next room to stand. Will be attracted by the mind much if showed much less fine. The poor much the better of the old days compared to that person but it became come te. Major General because a person once loved so as not to be still forget his thought to mind. And expect to continue to the development of the colorful thing alone decided. When things princess became re-died will irish I in trouble you do not accustomed to forget. Stunning unexpected princess and now find you. For now the wife in the comfort of Akakor so come and take care but. Either than now to Virgo in your eyes at your appearance wonder. This he said, Lieutenant General, which has dwarf of interest and whether there has been such a funny fact is. Whatever the home of daughter, given rather deep impression from human just by looking to implicitly beautiful people-ish hint is. To say now Major General it was of the Lieutenant General felt. But of trying to listen in detail. Major General without is trying to tell the truth as it is. As you can see, them. And whereas saying only suddenly question also becomes shameful to persistent retinue is. Because will rain was also darkness. Day sunset. Leave voice prompting into Lieutenant General were to try to go out. Veranda was not folding to hand the Amaneshi that bloomed at a little distance stood hum. What to Hofurin? To Amaneshi people of those words Zisa is hated world. So come somehow to say is the fear truly from the people. Such is the old-fashioned person we had praise it. That's a fine is to be your more and more beautiful. Would like socializing become a relationship if the old days is expected to be able to. Was her talking also bet none you. Become a come show and so come through all the time as the Fuji Chunigan of the house. I have seems not a favorite wife. It's the fact that more of that so come live in your residence of your father often. From then on such talk is also wife opponent to Yukifune. You still am not help but your Ameshiku from becoming come have a heart apart to me. Become is it to give up any more and everything even by destiny. I please become hair bear properly. This 5-6 years moment nor of those who thought that sad to not be able to forget it. I forgot from the so watch beside the people that you and I is better to become the love for your was also made to. But come in this world. I will help you become a come give up in and the other things you have passed away now. Because the thing that is the people do not think at that time that would have it. Also out to listen to say the princess were coming bin nomita Puma. Though I am not such as willing to put you anything the separated from is made a strange resuscitation. Nothing I no longer remember only like everyone else dream. Was born person is such a mind to another world because it feels that would be one that is and is still in this world thing called relatives also. Wondering not I, theirs are you to ask oh only your love. Quote, innocence in the face of Yukifune say that had watched while Kyuta Nunkun smile visible. A lieutenant general arrived to Yamano welcomed even willing bishop. Was listening to talk of many things Sejo. That night revealed play and to read the way to the monks out of the precious voice decided to say. Lieutenant General well it is a delicate story in the Zen master of his brother. I was coming closer to Ono. Was not taste the thoughts shim to learn. People that can live with their only koga hobby until after the priest gets would be less. Say such a thing, followed by, when the wind has blown up a mistake. Was looking at the long beautiful people of hair. But went standing as with a mind and became uncovered. From behind did not seem a mediocre person. Young o' the place not the one to say that it's such lady. Because only Bo like to say that the people who see core. Because the nerve resulting in relaxation use and whether there is no person except. Feel sorry. Quote, it was this kind of talk. This spring, is that a young lady that was in your brought in a strange edged home down to Hatsusi. Zen does not say to the fine because it was not even supposed to know not the incident that involved the own poor persons I know. Because what would be the house of the people? I wonder world had been hidden come what if tear sad to such a temple? I like things in an ancient novel. And Lieutenant General said, also on his way back from the next day the mountain. In the mood, not be able to pass. We stopped to Ono's house to say such a thing. Here was it can also Shitaku of the meal has taken a welcome. Usually in different felt color also bad cuffs of none of Major General to the waiter in the old days as expected seemed beautifully without. None Mrs. saw the Lieutenant General as still terrible watery eyes than yesterday. With each other to thank. Lieutenant General in passing of the story is. Who is the young person who becomes the come to this house? I asked. I feel like become cumbersome but were to. None-kun I thought that there is no regards to show the seal to hide the person who seems to already been only chances. I was wondering if would be deep. The sin of you have so much heart that old people. Will the person who is supposed to be to live to the house instead of a daughter from a previous. Or, here several may. What reason sunken and had only in or of their presences. Because we are reluctant that you know the person. Who to such a valley bottom and do you come to look for you I have raised so as to hide comforted. But, why became that you can see is that of the people. Quote, Tashima Shidai appeared set to, even if suddenly suitors also. Distant road also it because we must be given the benefit by that came involuntarily. A person much less you of you started to take care think that old people if there is. I think it should say I make to accept in the footsteps in the old days my aspirations. Hey whatever reason do you a person who is not pessimistic life. Comfort and it seems want to you up. Quote, Lieutenant General in Fu unexpected hide the curiosity said. Takaishi to return sigh. Adashi also Amaneshi cracking shimmy you solder road far away do not fluttering in the wind the field. Wrote that. I was doing to have to the place of the princess to the nun of Major General. I read together with buckwheat also none you. Give your writing a return, because it is a gentleman. It is it because my will be to cause trouble after. Be recommended this, because it is bad character, why such a thing? And say, look at the not heard of Yukifune, is none kunin because to be a rude. As we talk, the world because it is familiar unexpected shy person. To transfer planet wete omoi disturbance unexpected grass of the hermitage rebellious the Amina Eshi fleeting life. Issued wrote, Lieutenant General went back as of the first time that I think this would be normal. Lieutenant General cannot been considered to be truly a fresh youthful to send a letter to the people of Ono. Moreover figure seen in the feign was suffering not be able to forget. It has become the pessimistic is or is unexpected, but it seems pathetic know the what the reason. Closer also to Kataka of Ono on the way back of the hunting house in 10 days too much in August. Call the example Major General of the Nun. I figure the longer he has settled down from the time that I learned a little gap scene. And it was relayed, when the Princess of Yukifune is silent not recognized as that may be the Stonehenge. The Nun-kun. We are seen as the mountain of Makachichi. Rashi some people in the porn and the mountain of Amina Eshi fall of the Sosduk Makachichi. Quote, it was said to be. But then the old mother-in-law and son-in-laws to that interview. I think I want to hear detail that those who now talk with so come to live in a pitiful state. Since the thing that cannot be satisfied with life continues, I become tempted to enter. Even to the mountain temple. Should be agreed I was wondering the no parents believed to have me. But the people happy does not bring myself to go familiar heart sank of their own. Not help but think wanna be like each other consolation to the unfortunate people whom Lieutenant General eagerly say, but I think that your opponent will equivalent was in the May leave and would talk about the non-happy. That person has also become pessimistic enough to say all the time that I do not want to any more in this state profane figure. I sense it was Koko Robosoka when the finally be ordained even human beings made by the Luo year. The people rich in spring and autumn. I wanted a Buna and whether or not you can it run. Nun-kun were to say parents. Also I went to the princess of the place. I will think that it is very cold-hearted person. I give your so relayed the Stonehenge given a little. Things that some of the people who have this kind of wabi abode. The self-esteem of kindness hidden to shadow dating such as the one that. But it is to say, such as. Am I a thing to say things in what way with people? The way even I do not know what. I do not have a decent in what respects. Princess of Yukifune got it lying down. In there is Lieutenant General. Did it come to either? I will receive your cold shoulder. Torn the fall, just you just became my your teasing. Etc. And say the nun-kun to your meshi likely. Domoshika the voice of the pine cricket came sleep Tajiru also mad he knew the dua of Ogahara. I was about to sing. Well, you poor thing, let even a song in return. Although none wife were of approaching this princess. Not willing to be a critic game of such love. Also, once wife a song, I think also troublesome that will be blamed in the returns in these sometimes. Sincerely, none wife also saw that there without saying a wife also seemed think to shiftless people thing. Nun Kun Will was a talented woman boasted the resourcefulness to young age. Do not make an excuse for the inn and Russia divided the upcoming hunting around the fall of the field also Muguro Shigeru. Willie has trouble once. Quote, I'm talking with, while listening as Yukifune, that you are still in your world from this it was thought painful and or will not be able to start. Know the old people, without knowing the feeling of princess. And also many wives of that nostalgic once also the son-in-law your old princess. Just because you became to visit us without even a little deep meaning. Because you do not let okay in the like trying to advance toward not regards be nasu, a story. And separately from, such as your marriage problems. Courtesy of some degree of your henge only to have give me. Referred to as such. It was to say to the only body also moved raw. Woman who took it truly here is the thing that I think that Kyosumaru the Nun-kun is the lieutenant general of the opponent. Yan in mind refers to the song Nourish youthful song uncharacteristically. What that would be unfortunate myself. And yet even life did not hesitate left to throw away. Will going to happen to Konosaki. In Omo and I want to be forget from any person as a person who died at all. In the transverse Yukifune was on in the figure of the left has become. Do Lieutenant General is sometimes shown exercised in addition to something. Badly to the Tansoku, to the sound rather than the deer while playing the flute. Yamazato is the I in the fall what particular Wabashiki ray sound rather than the deer state that is better while. Such as the hum seemed a considerable man. You suffering hard to memories of the old days I'm down here. Also newly me the better I make have mercy does not seem also do not Kudasara become the heart. World afloat I seemed unexpected Yamaji. When you're a meshi say likely, when you go home, the Nun-kun. The hit night, and hit the night of the moon and the flower also is yaif to show in the field who may mind. I become your way either. To say, it came out to the place of mistakes. It is another a lot. Yamazato also because we found that's a sad thing. Such as the Lieutenant General said. Do not want to also show the grandeur that was excessively close to the new princess. The only was good of the people of the impression that saw a little faint. Only began to love to compensate for the emptiness a boring heart from not mind the other party to be uncomfortable to think that the taking was pretentious to callous attitude is that it is not suitable to place pattern, but of the which was to go home. None you are also even to break up the sound of the whistle and regrettable. Keep lightening the month of the night to unseen people in Yamano and Chikaki and empathetic. And the wife was to remember what her flutter and here was said in if you begone agency. Watching the moon until it enters into Yamanoa min plates of Nia and he signs Ariado. When you are allowed to communicate such returns. Large nun mister of this house. And I heard the sound of the whistle from a little while ago. I came out to remain attracted the mind. The old man does not or rather started to say that of the old days to talk with trembling voice out. Of just coughed between. It seems people who blow the whistle unexpected no be a who. I play you in your now their harp. Flute sounds good to hear in the moonlit night. Where you are, dojo us. Give us the wife of the harp. They said, although the Lieutenant General and likely large Nun-kun from a little while ago was not heard. Guessed. I think that would be of where these large elderly of this house had been safely living. Or young and old also non-discriminatory impermanence of the world is by this I think that is was. Of being sad. The band Wataru Cho blowing very well. Now, so please contact. Say. Also correspondingly, when flow favorite none misses this. It's your whistle I think it became a made you much more cleverly than I heard the old days. It may be because there is no one to listen to other than hear our mountain wind. Mine would have become full of mistakes. And play the harp while saying. Modern people are no longer so much like the koto of instrumental music. Or because the picker also was less. I think. As a shim to unusual wear. Lieutenant General heard the sound of the other party of the stringing. Shofu also a gentle accompaniment. Because the moonlight was also pointing to complement the sound of the whistle. Turned more and more to please the large Nun-kun. Had continued to occur without also a good midoi. Once things but hey this old was also doing well playing the wagon. I do not know if now is also change how you play. From the son of a bishop. Kikigu Roshi. May leave so that you are not other things than Buddha I have been scolded. Well then I do not play I think a good. Even not have my not played. And wagons the excellent article that is in my hand. Quote. Large Nun-kun seemed likely was playing it continues to say something like this. Lieutenant General is a snicker. Bishop will it was what happens to the Virgin. In the play. Such as everyone also music bodhisattva in a place called Paradise. celestial as how can I paradise seems grateful, etc. That play dancing, Buddha does not also be made to the working of touch. Please tonight to suggest it? Quote, in words that said in mind teasing with large none I am satisfied. Now dojo Agakari parlor is allowed to have a wagon. Cough even during this short word went out to hit Kirinashi. Although nun wife also thought the wives also become unsightly thing is play the harp in large. Nun-kun is free to sympathy because for this purpose is a human that appeal to Urameshi likely to people. Even the bishop in had. When the instrument comes, not try I be what had been blown in the whistle. Only just itself becomes the good feelings. Sumoto also flipping refreshing. Say whistle to be ceased of a sound. Koto is the person with a will of mind that you want to shobi. Their music exclusively to interpret. Chirifiori, chili, well return. Such as the oyster or have enough also put words that frolic the was also as long as the old-fashioned things. It's funny, just have a word that cannot be heard by now. And his lieutenant general compliment. Your distant old nun is reflective listening to those of buckwheat. It is now if the young person likely is such a love thing. Princess that in this house so coming from before you go may also. Appearance seems nice. Just recess not be relied such a useless play any it will come. Quote, and, to say Ken as I none misses such as thought Katahara Taku. Mountain wholesale even when the seat that had spoiled of interest in the Azuma Koto of large old man go back a lieutenant general was blowing. The sound is beautifully thought as to the people of the whistle heard to mix it up all night. Without sleep. From the place of the next day lieutenant general. Yesterday and I have mind as disturbed to come past and of tent was a rude return way. The sound is also to joint she section of few take also of long ago forgotten was unexpected. Respectively cry is Karu. Please tell us as he will admit my sincerity to that person. Until Shinobu at things like you it will be seen as such a rash man if it was heart sufficient in. Only within would not I would never. News to say that there was to the nun you. None Mrs. Weir in Nitsu Cash an old son-in-law Mr. saw this wrote a reply after you shed tears foo. Unexpected can stop crying. She returned to the sound of the flute is also concealed that of the old days also sleeves each two. Wet enough. A person who is different from the ordinary young people as strange as I think that can also you. Know from Toizugatari of the old man. Then say that. Not the character of the people who think miss. Not able to have interest as to the character of the old mother-in-law that was familiar. Seems to be would be that, as it is lieutenant general is to release every other. As the autumn wind to attend the leaves of Ogi, it is also that the trouble often be sent from lieutenant general of the letter. Things that the human mind would be of why come around to Ichizu. The old days of painful experience also think Yukifune came to these days is finally recalled. As not allowed to any more myself to love. Also from the people that I think learning to through in the sense to ask take unexpected as fast. As I would like to Buddha of the princess was reading. Among the heart he had been praying it. The Yukifune you have selected something like this lonely road. Without creating exceptionally interesting air. Yet young people. Annoying the thought as people around the will of a nature. In addition to the disadvantage by beautiful superior of appearance was in the comfort of Chobo of the eye without also willing to blame. When to laugh a little. And all the joy that is to show those rare brilliant. None misses made in September was supposed to be miles to Hatsusi. To lonely was just lonely myself did not become just the thought as to that of the deceased. Nun-kun it got pretty more think unexpected people in the flesh like this princess is believed to be the prophets of canon or to the mailing thank you. Let's go to the come together. Do you think that may be seen to anyone? It is of a lot of examples we have seen the results that maybe there is efficacy even in the same. Buddha to ask muffled, such as in that temple, to say that, but Nun-kun were to recommend the bank to the princess. But like the old days the mother and the nanny was shown the maili you often say the same thing. to his own, was nothing of the paddle. Life even not at will. Are they not become neither sad only unspeakable? And Yukifune is to be embarrassing facts come accompanied to the people not known of this family and that Yamaji of their own out that I think even appeared and died in body and was perversity issues without saying. Because I feel think all the time Waru. Because it is worried that there is no such thing as or worse to have such a long road. He had refused indeed thought to be person that are likely such a thing fear. Nun-kun did not say is correct. Ephemeral in the world shake river float also go flip to of cedar visited the Seto. And I wrote songs that find the Nun-kun was not mixed in the tenurai paper. By becoming right to in your tsu there is a person who wants to become me it again. And because it was destined to say a joke. Princess was beautiful that was along the also charming was blushed and startled. You each have to elsewhere in person to only domone, known cedar hanate full river. It is mediocre, but was told the song like this to one of the more recently Nun-kun to think. Then it had been decided to go with conspicuous unexpected way. But nobody rising, he also has to go. And the going to put the princess into little people of the empty home none you are worried. Of clever major general and a nun. Wife when a year that Saman was carried out at this much in dojo. Everyone is a shadow to go to departure Yukifune had looked forever. While say that the desolate life has changed in the old days. To the now of their own seem to only none Mr. News. And the like is discouraging those are parting the only people who love thee yourself I think. Came a letter from Lieutenant General to the one that felt the Azure. Please read Asobase, say. But Yukifune did not even listen. And enter looked at her lonely became home of the garden than the ordinary thing of the past, was of the thought that after yet to be just Tansoku, I will Irishai become and we were seeing Miryu as it becomes painful. Not mainly about Yugo. And Major General says, I not help the poor. Yukifune became myself to him even while saying, although Major General doing to take the van was struck by the initiative likely to have confidence in the princess. Himself defeated weak as a terrible. So also moved on to the next game. I may be familiar to you, leave early nun wife. Want to show you a go of the princess. That person in you who you're strong. Bishop like not like you very go from the time you young. It is a place that was welcome and confident. Although nun wife does not think that trying to boast become gosei shonen. And now say you and will not lose to your go. And you will start your game. Bishop like and it's as are two now you lose. Seems strong you more better of you than go of gosei. Well reported comes in a rare strike hands. And Major General were to say amused. To the amount of combing none said of occasionally did not be seen more years ago. It is all the time come to be to the opponent face to face is unpleasant. Noisy as are interested. Princess of Yukifune I thought those who dabbled in things cumbersome. The mood was lying to say that bad. I sometimes asobase will you also feel not to hairbear. Do you have a regrettable? It will become just sunk the youth will be feel that a defect in. Really ball. And Major General said such. People often evening recalled and died in body and sound of the wind is. Russia Ichiru turbulent in gomless leaves do domo ne young autumn evening in the heart. These songs were also poems to the hour and minute that the moon has become interesting views out. Lieutenant General of Taurus the letter came out during the day. It is that nasty, princess. Which I thought would be that what is to see that going into toward the back. It all there is less. There of what you aspirations thing be over particular depth of the from such a cage. Not give you to hear that become talk even to faint. There of your words become died so I rasharu of antipathy also to get to your body. Quote, was a princess to become more anxiety said once said something like this to Major General. Princess is also a Major General and went on a journey together as I say to the customer. Daytime uses he still remained one person. Do not believe Lieutenant General and seems those went to hear things like that. grudge against the heartless of the princess doing a lot of words. I have no hope, let have it talk. Just that you're close. I make ask you a story that I be. The result to me to do so off the grave to be. It is your with favor Iki, I want you in. Because there is no answer no matter how say such a thing feeling depressed were Lieutenant General. To Nasakinas. This place is not a place most suitable for us to taste the delicate feelings of the people. Do not become I think you anything is to come to this kind of treatment. Say also to mock in. May precisely be things omu people omoi the deep pathetic fall of the night of the mountain village. I should say I make you, even your sympathy from your own lonely your mudas. Quote, after you tell was not relayed to the Princess Major General. Because it's time to none wife is not to come. Diverting cannot be where I am sure that you give back in. Is not somehow you say Aso Basa would think that the person who is too human away. To blame this. Float even over Holdings person and the person who omu was only the no moi and things carry no. And Yukifune and heard was Yue's to mouth without even returns. That the Major General is telling Lieutenant General Heard happy. Just please come out to the nearby just a little bit. Referred to as the Lieutenant General said that, although Major General et al. Is to try to move the heart of the princess. Princess was only once Urameshi this people. Not Nasaru to your indifference to the more suspicious one. And when the wife came also entered the attempt to advise saying, Princess is not the stomach to the other seat. Had walked to the large nunkun of the chamber was not be seen also performed a balance hero. And tell the customer to come back I think as Major General was amazed at what that person to be folded in such a dwelling is emotion becomes finer than a human. It is true that as he is deeply sympathetic to the general not only to love cold treatment to more violent people of perception whether or not is to me. This is for a person who saw the catastrophe of love with until either not do that. I wonder if there are other reasons. Or in this house you will forever come on. Quote, but it was the Lieutenant General that want to hear to say that like. Also are not supposed to speak wife if fine fact. I now see who you are unexpectedly wife is in the temple of Hatsusi. When did you discuss? You will find then it is your and Suzuki was also supposed to be made to come to us you can see. And he was saying only. Princess of Yukifune where has become the Utsubushi at the old nun had heard that the people of the troublesome nature, but cannot of course is such as to enter sleep. It is large nunkun of the evening Midoi had built a large snoring of the voice. The previous to be sleeping two people of the nud wife in the form of the rear insert better. The snoring so as to it even my inferior to the main I had wrote. The princess yourself tonight is terrible to think that it would be eaten by these people. But it is not also a regrettable life. People who went to die from the timid of the example once Abuna a narrow bridge behind is of the coming story that back to did not joylessly think as in. Then it had to come followed by a Kamoki of dojo. But Maze was the girl unusual heterosexual went back to mind as attracted towards the there of the parlor sitting strutting wind flow like a man. Will to but Kikomo come now. But is trying to allow princesses of waiting. No ask purchase dojo as had been to talk abandoned the lord. Lieutenant General went home disappointed to not be recognized sincere. In the later, if you do not know the humanity, come just in shy, while becoming to come with the appearance of just there. I fell asleep in everyone, such as the defied the Princess Ichi show. The Diama Mister by the time seems to be whether the midnight hour. Minute, followed by a terrible cough, happened from it, and in white hair of his head that looks to the light of the lamp. Beyond and wearing a black cloth, and so on weasel mouse and wondered that the princess is coming to such a shape. While rely on the one hand on the forehead. Suspicious, this is it someone. Preparative say when the anticipation of the better of the princess's stickiness likely voice. I feel that now his is the eaten has to Yukifune. Ghost but did not know anything because when you went with their own was stupor state. Princess, that now seems horribly thin as to resuscitation after you have suffered long. Also in a variety of past memories suffering, and was to also believe that now also to scary and ro fear to breeze unspeakable eyes myself as there, yet no difference to his that had been placed in one of the dead as if had more horrible form. Yukifune to be recalled one after another to the left is not sleep that from the old days. There does not appear more and was a life filled sadly. Fukin could not see even your appearance, and walk around and here and there for the mother the far east of the country, made up of the things that each other tore of the Tamasaka. Love the happy also Tanama Shikubi surprising at Mr. I thought sister touch. Supposed to become farewell soon Tay. Marriage can, that he's in reaches I think that had a negligence, which has been in my heart to love you at temple even a little when going comforted also finally of past misfortune in to trust that person it should not be ashamed myself for that person became the only of these bleaching should not be suspected I thought why pleased was told the love unchanging preface to the color of Kojima of Tachibana. Love also feel that the ends also awoke love of person who has a pale well abiding even love from the beginning it is. At that time the case has been reminded of many of its people. And I think for the palace of Yukifune to remember the deep love. Not be compared it was a princess, thus still alive in those that may be compared to the embarrassment of when it is heard in the person seems to be no. Indeed also be the case. It was the also grieve whether there will be a day to see well elsewhere that person while you are in this world. Myself have the obsession still not good. Was also trying to change the mind and the like might think such a thing. It has been finally hear the cries of the chicken voice. Yukifune was very happy, and would be much less happy if we were able to hear the voice of the mother. The mood was also bad and Princessum reveals such a thing. In order not to me also come as early who will come accompanied to go back to there. Was eating as it is still lying as and get up early the nun wife on the eve of snoring is. Willing the things bad that such as porridge. Princess also not eat early. Was Kimagawaruka also from being burned with care to come to the buckwheat and the like. I feel that not accustomed to this morning and because you do not have a good condition of the body to have declined in the gentle words in. It was the also noisy as trying to make a meat recommended by force. Monk of vulgar appearance came a lot to this house. Mr. Bishop will be your Shimayama today. Such as that saying in the garden. Why did you become suddenly so? Become a common dish of the house like the suffering in Mononoke? But sit in the Motoyama will come to the dual cultivation. Has not come out as still a bishop supposed to be that there is no possibility that a view of the effect. Yesterday we had the use of summons also twice as 4 of Major General of Sadaijin who become is also come from Dandruff night last night. Because the thing that became you have, such as your letter of Nakamaya like, the determination of Shimayama yourself of it was, such that said proudly, when we stopped the bishop here, it's hope and I want you to none and even embarrassed. The Yukifune that convenience has come up with a good when few other people in the also absent. Likely none misses to game date happening. When the bishop like now you down the mountain. Because it is proposed that would like to be a priest. That way we please your intercession from you like. And say to Dayama-kun, do not ad fu blurred. Fudan came back to normal in the living room. And I think that the nun-kun did not that combing the hair to a person other than its own so far. But that makes touch the wife as to appear to hate itself, because in a thing that cannot be in, just while down solves only a little. Was sad to think that whether end up not show again before the remains of their own to his mother. Hair for heavy illness is also to in its own feel that decreased a little. But not see what about waned. Such as the very place was beautiful to be of more of the end. Which is also about 6 feet and a lot is to have become more finely beautifully. Yukifune was saying to Teroshin the servants and Owen Kakare. Or Eric and not stroking my hair of nurse ball. Monologue. Bishop came from the temple in the evening. South of the tatami room is cleaned and decorated. There is round head also to see that several moves standing. Was scary in the heart of today's princess. Bishop went to the place of the mother of the nun. What was Gokigan from there? He had been asked such. It seems to have been out on pilgrimage east of Mrs. People who were in there still is come. It's right. Last night was he to say that I hope I stayed to come to me. Let me you received the precepts of the nun because the body is bad. And Ayama-kun said. Bishop came to the living room of the princess standing there. I come here either. And say, I sat down to the front of Kicho. At that time chants and conventions even before the student is supposed to be your help you I have seen. But I folded the bone in prayer. Monk is without errands cannot be given a letter to the woman. Long silence and I have. Would you like to come? Why until now it is such as these human beings a way of the life of the person making the house. This bishop said, it's who I thought I might have already alive. But we received a stranger's salvation. It seems sad that we until today. On the other hand, which was pleased to a lot of your kindly cares of me shallow as to be because they're the nar. Thought Kataji Kenaku and died and deeply only those who like. You please the nun you make help you to I will have feel that as we were in this state still cannot stay alive. Their sheikh will be asked to do so by all means. Alive to the feel that is not folded in the far from ordinary only be had from their mind of the. And princess says, I wonder convinced deeply the still young you why such a thing. Rather I is to be a sin. Decision also seems to be a strong belief as when the first hand of the woman in one of the years has fallen into the sin easy to go to something you. While bishop were to say things like, I now have been placed in the fate brand Senaban Ara the musings from the time of the child, mother, etc. Also there's that my name is like you want to take care in the nun. Let alone over to understand a little life now adults after I choose the circumstances that can often Buddha worked in the world to not become abnormal people. But hope that one get a comfort just to at least posterity had been gradually increased. From its Buddha probably because the approaches of the day you get forgive me. I have become sickly. You please fulfill this hope. Quote, Princess of Yukifune were to ask crying this way. Is that strange? People that obtained the appearance that was superior to the people. Why would began to think Ito Wishiku the world? But Mononoke, which has appeared someday also wanted Ito Washi that this person live was it said. My albeit that there is no reason. This person was not a person alive until now if you put remain that. Because it is the person who began to mummy and bad Mononoke. I believe Bishop and I do not think that there is no danger in the future. It is the thing that will complement most you as good deeds of the Buddha that is desired by Omoida, somehow, not that capable of such opposite in my own monk. To bestow the precepts of the nun is that simple. Imperial palace come out of the mountain in steep patronage of. I since have become that must leave to the court in one of tonight. And you will want to exit in 7 days and the start of your dual cultivation from tomorrow. Let's at that time. Quote, Bishop was saying, when the nun misses think that there is no difference to stop always as long as when you are in this house. You're the Yukifune that the execution is impossible to think sorry. But it is now has decided so because of illness let there know as little effect. Because you will find quite the tone of the body is bad. Just like that format after the now critical condition because there is to become there sorry. There is unreasonable but their shake will be the Jukaita today. Quote, the saying, Princess was very crying. The simple monk of mine this is pathetic to think not accumulate. I would have been the other night considerably dandruff to come down from the mountain. But something old days that did not think anything. Because what tired is badly toward the year. I am going Milo and the rest to the imperial palace it was. But let's bestow it immediately if so much is also desired early the commandment. Yukifune became happy to hear say. When you issue the lid of the scissors and comb of the box to the front of the bishop. I wonder where you are, Bo like us. Came to hear. Bishop is called the disciple, because of the beginning to have found this person in Nuji night Acharya had come, both of whom by Kisud into the parlor. Mo's your haircut, and he said, is a reason, because a man of rare beauty is had in this world in the profane figure. I thought also Acharya at all, and must often be Hanrui. Even so, it was not possible to move the hands of too much, for sometimes splendor scissors of hair scraped out by hand from open sewing a vertical bow of Kicho. This means that a certain time in the parlor, none of Major General, it was also to go to his room to talk to Acharya brother, came down to a test of the teacher. Same it for also there's an acquaintance in a row, was handing out my heart to the hospitality of the monk. In such a house has made each a friendship opponent, because were those are behaved the feast, although only Kikomo in such a thing is had by samurai in the living room of the princess. Come here, reported that in the parlor to the nun of Major General. Looking went Major General await Futame. Bishop is dressed to say their own robes and robe if into the princess. Go worship warden to better so come of the mother. I had to say, when I thought that no clue of the direction, Yukifune began to cry at the pilfering it serves. Well, do you have that? What was? You like that lack of prudence? Wife, let us become what is now your way to say you this. Major General but was to try to stop saying, in order to Bishop of that annoy the hearts of people who took one step and try to enter proceed to the faith of the frontier was thought that there is no best regards has one can interfere with Major General closer also to buckwheat could not, during per past 3 kingdoms. Affection non-cross-sectional to the word and to teach, was believed by the already Yukifune already truly yourself whether not have been liberation from it. Often Hera's wocut could be Acharya's, and please let later Yorori to none healed to you guys. I had to say, at the forehead, haircut is Bishop. Do not regret even discard the appearance of this flower, referred to as such. It was let preach the way of precious Buddha of your disciples. That as the priest had been told by you guys and not the one to go to so easily none. I had asked to finish quickly be this way. Living Buddha is intended to show the efficacy as nuclear witness the Yukifune thought. After that I went out of the line of the bishop became a quiet house of Matamoto. None wives while listening to the sound of the night wind. This discouraging year also become live up for a while in the house with patience, and may to enter you to happy your life in the near future. Although I was waiting for you like of the day, or shine a thing and now's it then. Let they're gonna do sports in the future. When will be the priest also who declined old, and has been recognized that leads to life as a loss far in this you will find a sad thing. But it was to say and still spared. My mind is now like glad to rest is obtained. Thieves faced in life is I think a good thing. Have this Yukifune the answer. It was also felt for the first time open the chest. Because no one was also that you have without asking for consent truly becomes the next morning. To show the appearance has changed to the person who was the princess to think so is not to become embarrassed. Up to the hair of the hem is near the top suddenly. The end also became irregular that at spreading can tangle. Although I think that one would not someone to fix without the like tedious preaching. What to put in be a delayed care. I was sitting in the dark in the living room. Things like write their own thoughts to the people also. To have a person that cannot be good from the original. Since it is not even people who continue to narrative anyone much less as a target. Just when the frame of thought toward the inkstone is tenorized no G only write in. It was well written in song. In addition discarded suru, respectively the world to throw away while omoi also the people also only to those defunct. It was done already in this. It was not look like a shim to wear himself writing such a letter. Wonder if each and omoi will then be to whether the world is has also rebelled against pain is. Long as. Just this idea has also become a short sentence in his song. A letter came from Lieutenant General to when you're moving the brush. The family have a buzz there's a thing last night, was attributed to say also that and came to use. Lieutenant General was disappointed, is beginning to be given a little bit of the answer to the words of his love from the heart. Inclined to religion seems what was to avoid to be a noisy. Even so, it is regrettable that, beautiful as the hair that looked a little, whether unexpected me certainly show in wife to Senia also ask, promise to give me was the in which was but a sorry and in good time. Issued a second time of use. Please, it has received that there also have use of the greeting. Wonder if a hurry and flip late ride to shore far rowing away ran on a ship. Princess on behalf of the hero read pick up this letter. Because it was when, which has been the heart to foo things pathetic, are those in the mood to write. At the end of the only paper, float tree of hearts would not know even to the shore of the fleeting life away ruer etc. go sweet. And was Tenerai writing examples. This is Major General of the Nun was to be sent wrapped into Lieutenant General. I want to give and also in at least fair copy. You're welcome, you will find only results in poorer so one write rather. It was came to the Lieutenant General of the hand in such a thing. Unusual reply of Miss People. Along with the happy, now seemed sad and it became as that person to learn that none of the irreversible Hatsusi sadness of Nun-kun came back from Meili were those no only. Because you I have become a nun. But will try to omo oaf and was to also recommended should be. Will be young to you as you do now. I cannot have another long live year in. Because dying is even today I might come even to tomorrow. It was I just was wondering. As you die with peace of mind of you. Which also makes a variety of fancy. Was to pray to Buddha I. Imagine crying even look at the nun Mr. of Fu unexpected bear the sadness in Marin. Sadness when mother is admitted yourself and those who died without even asking muscles. And would have been a more in addition what is Yukifune was sad. As always with dark sadness beautiful to the nun Mr. Youthful princess that towards the face toward. The horizontal is loose and slightly without saying anything. Well I think that is a reproachful people who lack compassion not rely cheerfully Nun-kun was working on Shitaku vestment. Since there was no shortage in the provision of those of dark gray. Small uchigi, kesa and was finished shortly. Wives also sewing a thing of such a color. To when dressing it, rising with regret and had to wrap the person who has looked with hope of stunning unexpected. Mountain village in the sad nun clothes. If resentment the bishop, was also reproach. Your diseased dish of the temple. By the dual cultivation of bishop to boast exactly of that disciple monk. Please if there is cherry of the more visible, for now Kaifuku. Gathered respect finally to the bishop. Their oboshi meshi Mr. Nakamaya is that the illness is still anxiety. It became so to extend you a dual cultivation. Bishop was still samurai in the imperial palace not be able to leave on schedule. Bishop to Shimayaka night falling. Such as rain has accepted the role of night stay. Such as a person coming out of the tired service in Goemai everyone, if you are. Such as down to room rest. A small number of cage of the wife that was samurai in your living room. Nakamaya is made to come to the same book and platform Himamiyate. To the bishop, it had continued to you in confidence all the way from the old days. By the power of prayer was also pleased show me now in that. Even in the difference not in Tanamoshi of bright future generations of road purchase decisions. You even has been increased. I have given this kind of your words. Even that does not have it the other also continue for a long time what my life within which we are taught from the Buddha. Because we have been shown that there is next year and this year is dangerous. Unengio the Gohodok devoted and I proposed that. There then had been holed up to the mountain. But we have been out in the Osorio Segodo from you like. Bishop had I would like and so on. That your possession synchronized was Mononoke was a vindictive thing. Many things differently that is frightening and out to say the name of the person was. Incidentally of the story that was my name, etc. Suspicious experience I've had. Although mother took a year, in March of this year was there, then wasam down to Hatsusi by the gun. One line where Mosu the hospital of Uji, in return applications where I will stay there is the large building which is not populated with people, such as we have decided, so Oramashi always back and forth in evil spirits. I do worry whether my bring bad results for having sick mother if you are. There was such a thing. Quote, once, I mentioned that at the time you find a princess of Yukifune in that Uzi. I think that can really strange. Become a seta. Kimiwaru ku oboshi meshibi Nakamaya became to Kazuo wife who was sleeping nearby. Of Prime Minister has become in general, and the friend you had heard this story from the beginning. It is to cause the people who did not know the Sukoshiku muscle of the story. Bishop will know that it is Fubi horribly oboshi meshi is Nakamaya. I think that I would like to be unscrupulous. The only thing that night was stopped for detailed explanation. When the woman of the people will be attendance to call this time of you. If you stopped to the place of the nun of the way we live in Ono mother and sister. And we come out. Me and tearfully describe the hope of priest because we asked for Jukai we have to Rakashoku. Is Nun-kun of the previous Doraemon oversee the widow and my sister? I was wondering the place of a girl that was a lost. Loved the people, so himself felt the happiness not had, because there then had been Itawa to fairly important. There Rashu of a grudge against was the nun in my hand actually. Because there's a rarely good woman of the appearance. The Buddha served haggard and Iwayuku seemed pathetic. Let there then exactly who was the daughter of, because it was eloquence person, and not rest that long talk. Why take the beautiful princess to such a place? You were asked of the Prime Minister. No, it might her talking like to do. Or sister of the nun to know. If in fact the nobility of the house person. Because is not going to be no longer no of IQ is not a rumor. Such there will Mayan humans. There may be equipped with a person of such race also to the country of human daughter. If there is no that was to come out of the dragon-born Buddha. But mediocre Ayanoko sorry, we have not found the difference to the person who came born to give a good cause in front of students as there is of such a person as Bishop had said and the like. The person who is said to have committed suicide in Uji in that time Nakamaya became come to think. Also your Prime Minister float in a chest Princess of Uji heard and lost the example go to the sister of the story of the home. But it was thought that is not it. It was not possible to affirm only by conjecture. Bishop also. As a person I do not want to inform the people and living also. As a person likely to cause things like not regards if shiriri. Is because there then a fu is implicitly saying. How far I also muted even as secret although I should. You will find not I put in only the ears that point because there are two strange facts. And to say, because fu in which was to try to hide Prime Minister did not say is that the anyone. Nakamaya to this person only. The story of the bishop seems that the Princess of Uji, I want to let the general. And it became you tell, that the for some people should hide is a shame for a woman. It is decisive that the remains cannot be the embarrassing break the ice in the high brother of personality became come in silence or oboshi meshi with. Himamiya was supposed to be bishop go back also to Yamano Terra because sported complete healing. When I stopped by to Ono's house, Nun-kun once very Urameshi, is rather becomes if this way become. In the future, though you'll be none the crime also result in obtaining a sin. It is likely to unsatisfactory did not Kudasara to be consulted, and he said it was to no longer buy. Only may leave the devotion the future of another Buddha Atsutome. I old people both young people that there is no difference of impermanence as life became your enlightenment and is ephemeral thing also. Because it is you that are considered much less to reason. Words of this bishop also Yukifune heard ashamed. This is because no difference did if you that from the time that has been discovered in Uji. Get a new Hofuku. Bishop is saying, it gave the Toka Ayatokwa thin of the continued product from the Imperial Palace. While you have my living, you will do well. There is nothing to worry about. Though have been clothed in glory to say human beings are born to the impermanence of the world. For those who also for this of itself a thing that also will not be able to throw away willingly. This lonely bee in the life of Atsutoma in the forest is. What do you have that happened the Urameshi is? Do you want to think what a shame? Human life between is a thing of about thinness of the leaves with a. So this preached herd, is a monk as Matsuman Akatsuki Idatsuki wondering. Kashi Waho Jinjitsu in Chaosei, give me even let along with the rich man of literary of sophistication, in which she sang the concubines who protect the tomb garden in the poetry of the Tang dynasty. The princess was thrilled to think that is a good teacher, as was hoping for some time. One day not turned away blowing wind all the day, because the lonely sound was standing. When that is Kokorobasoku, one of the monks who had come. What that warrior priest would want to cry aloud what on a day like this. Listen to her speaking of. Princesses of yours will be made on the other warrior priest. So while I think that will not stop the tears, and look out to close to the edge, the other side of the Yamaji of Ibs various the eye look through wearing of Karajinu. People who go up to Hies and even in the rare passing through this road. Although it was only able to see from time to time the monk shadow of walk from a place called Kuratani, was found a person of ordinary clothes uncommon think was the crack was. But it was a lieutenant general was broken heart, even that there is no longer by, because although it had come I want to tell my heart. Stained beautifully colored leaves was a garden that stood cleanly lot of mixed in elsewhere. Gaten is as soon as that the shame to the body of another Goatam lieutenant general felt there. If the beautiful people who live in this tasteful place was the lover thought that such would be a lot of interest, I became a little quiet, because the thing boring. Here of autumn leaves also came go out I think no matter is in full bloom. Always here sounds too good place. Nostalgic in overnight is where you want to borrow. Lieutenant General was looking at the garden saying, none with an easy feeling tears Kun had already crying. Without each OJ Shadik should be confined standing at the foot of the mountain to blow trees up. Rashi, and say, he intends 10 and 2. Such while watching the treetops of the mountain village where people also rough flip and omutu. Wait, and Lieutenant General made a return. It refers to a person who became a nun as yet unexpected completely give up. Please poking a little bit of figure which has become to your place. And I asked the Major General of the nun. It has been blamed it just that an even unexpected must be as committed to me duty. And Major General tried to enter into the chamber of the princess. So is the princess of Yukafune and pity such a beautiful dress not show it to people there were. Wearing aya of pale dark gray, wearing the colors of transparent brightness that licorice color in. Beautiful petite appearance, has a modern appearance, as in the hair of the hem was spread a quintuple of fan there was such pomp. Famous as heavily make up the face is also the not Nia washi red sails into view. Buddha served as each other ising but is still rosary is applied to the rod of near Kicho as to how you are reading through as a princess of just want to draw even in the picture. Major General is the figure of kept heart princess of tears every time I see even on its own. In love I think I would be reflected in the eyes of man. The keyhole of the Urfus Sumako was also taught to Lieutenant General I of the way to a good cage, etc. Become Kicho had been pulled to the side. So much of the people of good looks did not even imagine. And I think that the thing had been a beauty that matches your ideal. Seems a shame to Kuchio Shiku to be had by the nun was his negligence the mind is Naku, can be suppressed this well. Was quiet to see gap should be aware of the unexpected might become vertical also the sound of Mahirogi remains of passion vacated. Whether it would be legal to dispense without search, people lost such a beautiful woman. And who it, Toka unexpected made paintings go of anyone's daughter. or natural toka became a nun, and uranium the people is made to the rumor there appear to Keisu Geisu Abuka Shiku. Such a beautiful person also become a nun. Is in any way cause the akon in the mistress. Would rather so that the mind is strongly attracted, and trying to still that person to confidential rumor to their own thing. Such a thing a lieutenant general who decided to heart to come to hear none mister of the parlor had a story to put the mind, while it became come in profane people. But will there is also various offense to me and give us your companionship. I feel you'll be going out at ease in after being Rakashoku. That way is to talk from you please oit, in order that the old cannot be forgotten. But we are the something like this your visit. Also will can become happy if the other party is fuer each other of a thing called another friendship. Quote, he said such. Kokoro Basoku whether the future is what happens. To not be in the concern. There is the person who take care with the thick your friendship is there that I'm happy. Also that after he died will be relieved to accept so. Nun-kun was crying saying, although no difference in abuses dark Nun-kun of kinship is to show this kind of situation that it would be anyone Lieutenant General was still a Bukashi wanted. It is what even the indefinite future of care is alive. I also survive, but what little self-confidence. Do not forget never is greater than or equal to accepting so talk. If you are in that person of the edge is not folded in fact. This world ill you do. Such a thing is still a little anxiety. It does not also be made to touch. I can feel that has been left one of the separated. If to come in normal form. Time also might be such a person is coming. More than that he has become a personal history that broke off the otherworldly edges woven I am. Also at ease. Also own feelings I because it looks so. It was something like this talk. Lieutenant General were to send it wrote the following song also toward the princess. Etc. Nair transgressions Karukun the world of Ohokata preface to Fuheda only what Surakari. Also, such as that to say that would be a force to the future in good faith it was reportedly none you. I let in advance I think the brothers come to discuss such as the fragility of life will be the plaything. Even I heard some people talk about such as the knowledgeable, to me there is regrettable that cannot be well understood. Also just say, Yukifune for the word was take care of the people to be weary of the world did not answer anything. Is unsympathetic only with myself when I think of the past and which has been the unexpectedly negligence. To try to finish their lives or ignored by the people become anything like rotten wood that does not feel a thing. Princess is this spirit it was going to Toso from such feelings, but until now is a person that could not be released the self from melancholy. There recently has been a little hair bear properly, or the nun-you and playthings. Also live in or hit the go. Buddha worked even better to the Lotus Sutra have read many well as other through. Snow laden down deeply. Princess the name of Kilimari of the roller is loneliness that empty also became nil in and out was remembered. Year was opened. However, Ono of Yamakage those likely signs of spring cannot see anything. And Kokorobasoku even there no sound of sound from completely frozen flow. And it is those people who became Seiyu as you supposed to Ofu road each day is made all the root of evil. Become not remember the other is love and it's that. But the only side of the cage was drawn to nostalgic eye. Kakikurasa also looking at the snow hills and fields each be to pretend sad today. Tenarai to or wrote that such was also now in between fits of working Buddha. By move from the spring was gone of their own to the next spring. It has often been last year of memories and the like will be people who are reminded of their own. To see that people have to bring with Wakana to pour basket. Wonder if Ruru asked of Wakana Nob Naho Hayashi students Hisaki between the snow of the mountain village. Nun-kun to the princess in place along with a song that was Taurus made of. Year also snipping should each and then you because now also Wakana downy snow deep field. A look at the returns came wrote. Was the pity that it would be realized. Not like Nun Princess. Nun-kun from the sincerity and to be person who wanted to take care, also seen as flower both. Treasure was crying sad once. The tree unchanged in the near red plum color of the incense, old flowers on the edge of the bedroom. Deliberately the princess loves the spring and old, said. Myself one of untimely spring is based on only. Shinobu probably because there is that the barrel. When equipped with a Buddha in the Diboya Ija of flowers. Called the year young junior of the nun. And to bend the branches of the plum. Flowers spill to say the resentment. Standing strong in sense also at this time it was. Hoffen touch she people what with that of the flower of incense I cannot see the sleeves of spring. Akabono. It is a work at the time of the princess. People who have become key adhere to enlarge nun Mr. Grandchildren came to visit of to Tokyo. This time was pretentious countenance beautiful in their appearance at about 30. Toko that of last year at the large nun-kun. But were you are going Kiko the Toko that of 2 years ago. Because was Fu had blurred. Kim resigned there to the place of the nun Mr. Ant. I now sit very decrepit. It is a pity, is to have spent a year in a distant country cannot also be used to take care of your rotai or you. I think that unexpected hash more than phase. After I no longer have parents. Only that but I came in I think loved ones of the place grandmother. Hitachi Duyumairi's news from Mrs. To say that it seems that the brother of the woman of this person. I will miss the surrounding accordance went years. Hitachi is there also seems to whether dangerous or your grandmother like that come up for a long time to Taurus I do not. Tokyo a letter. Princess of Yukifune was that of even without ears stops divided into that which is called the same name with its own parent, but also a customer. Even my out to Kyoto did not hear about soon. The is there is in the also work to be troublesome in a lot to be here as a local government. And although I was thinking of Yukagayo as what yesterday, it you and I have went to a company became come right generals to Uji also. I earlier you become all day come to a place that has become come live in aid of the temple. Through to the place of the princess of the house he was of it. But the first person who becomes lost you before, that your sisters also I became come through so live to hide to there. Last spring also your passed away it was you. And had become to be a Buddhist memorial service 1 anniversary. Become summoned you a discipline to the temple of Uji. I have now to come to an order of the day. I am also of the woman prepare for those that bid it was ordered to the preparation of costumes 1. Assortment. Or would not Kudasara is left over in your hands. Woven to things because you decided to order in a hurry to weave shop. This is no reason, not want to only have heard princess to say. It was facing towards the back in my to cause a suspicious person. None Mr. It is that princess of the holy of the temple like had heard that 2 people. What about the wife of Hyobu lord of the temple? Would be the one person. And I inquired, your mistress of better F Mr. General what was I Rasha in the illegitimate child of Ada. The temple. Treatment that legitimate wife is the but did not become come in. Becomes very sad once to come in now it. Also very time became farewell towards the beginning. Was about to be even a little more in the priesthood. Quote, says also such a thing. When I think likely to be one of the generals of his servants. It was a princess that seems truly frightening. It is strange because you become lost your. Moreover, both the 2 people at the same Uji. Became very you're crying now you look into the water at close to river also did feel sorry thing yesterday. The song became right to the pillar as you're up to the house. See she people itodo tears fu attachment fell on top of the lightning shadow water Sakaya Izu. We did that. The mouth is those who do not to put out too much. But I suggests often you sat in your state. No matter how mind you or a woman was thought to it who might either be attracted. I guess because I who appeared and died in mind that it elegant person from childhood. Even where the first of the rights the house of modern. I am in no want to go to the better. Your generals to asylum I came up today and felt participate in happiness. Quote, I have heard this story. and it was good of even these people, nor is that with a deep insight Kaoru thought as Yukifune and Mishi. Still, the source of light, and at first I think my come true in your appearance of Roku join of your father became told you hey. Well, because anything whether those who are praised in the current world is limited to your descendants of Roku join it has been. First said Daijin. That's right, your appearance is in your clean. Fine. I will be there. You have dignity seems really retainers. Hyobu, Lord of the Temple, I will think in terms of your good looks that at best person. If you were a woman I also it will have a desire to become a wife of that person. Quote, Ki Mamoru so, and the like, trying to teach a lot insidiously, and now if the world kept saying. Princess of Yukifune also heard strange. Remember also the naughty Bashim to the body. Told the nobles who also feel fictive, such as the person, think that it is the one person in the novel is also up to the at length itself it was of being. Also general by the story of Uji is now to know that you are hurting their own death. Also in the frame center of sadness. But was much less mother can also imagine the reasoning that it would be that much omoimidare. Rather it is show my appearance that is a pathetic nun I thought I would be able to masa the sadness. Key although Yukifune is the material used in the woman costumes that was asked from Mamoru nun Mr. Meat to be a wonder to see that by, for example, or Mega died at hand is likely to be itself there in the person I did not dare and such was. One of the waifu was sewing is this you will find a how, because you like is the clean end or twist. When I brought the fabric of the single clothes to wear to the small uchigi to say, Princess, that such was the mood as sad. Mood has become next to without touching even the hand just because bad. None you are doing out also the work of a hurry. It came closer to the buckwheat, but way to worry whether the body has become worse. A kai on top of the fabric of the single clothes. If superimposed to show the thickness of the fabric of cherry color. I want to dress you like this to the princess. It is to become your the appearance of pathetic dyed black. There was a wife to say. Concealed is over the sleeve of the shoulders of sweet clothing changes in the ya body is she. World. And Princess of Yukifune wrote. Because it will be their own rumors that grieve the people supposed to be. Not Mayaviku come transmitted someday. And turned out to be the truth on the day of Satoru of Nun-kun. The more hateful from the heart that knows the unexpected may think themselves as also continued to hide in. Although we have everyone forget about the old days. I will feel somewhat sad when you see the you like in these tailor your product. In the Dai-sama said to the nun you, even if become matter how become, to must become remember your many misses that of the old days. I cannot help but your Ameshiku is not Kudasara while also listen to such talk as now. In this house since that I was not long or to the color assortment of such ordinary clothes. I do not to Kiyagara only to those with no goods. And if I live people dead. But we remember such a thing. Is that some people that we may leave the care of you to do so to be. Even daughter had to die like me. Probably have to go to any place. And want to hear just say that what the world Bakashi it because of you think. Is your parents I do not know whether so come I think no matter how miss you that are no longer. Sure Viku. Only one of the parents until the time that was cage. Might have died later from there. By diverting the coming fall of tears while say, Yukifune is. Because his reminded thing that rather made just painful. If there then I could not talk. We do not have to of you in your any of the separated heart. Was the easy to say. Kaoru Life the Buddhist Memorial Service 1 Anniversary. Mourn the Yukifune in one in which became ephemeral ending. Had been officer in that Mamoru Hitachi the child Shai Tiari the Brewers. It was doing let me also serves as a shogun own right Kanofu. I was still I try to use the child of beautiful face and who are in Dogyo to hand. General at night was sad by, for example, rain wasm down to the palace of the Empress. When you do not have too much of the people in your living room. It was the is intimately talk. The mountain village that was retracted all the way. That the was there at the people who had loved before, but was told something from the people. But this man came to liken the fate of the previous generation. Nobody of mind, and because of things that the other party has become such a convention to be attracted, but did not fear the blame. And I have lost, and this would also because of the place with a sad name. And no longer favor is being held in the land we did not do also to go out a long time is from. And we have there is also use of a long time the other day in addition. This house is Omo Ishirace to me and to many of the transients of life. It is going to lead me deeply to Buddhism. Street was back. Notice that it was a place that has been placed in leftover deliberately for me. Quote, Nakamaya, from this word of Kaoru will remember you the story of the bishop and poor in Oboshimeshi. That one is in the house. You do not have to live those scary, not visible to the eye. What way is whether the person who died is the it became the askin. Taken come to know also that the dead lover to two people. General and would be your words of the blame and Oboshimeshi of ghost was interpreted. Let's also there's such a thing. Because such people only thing is settled to come always bad in a rare place of died so also did not have abnormal to it. Kaoru did not dare to say in detail. It is not my best regards to you who touched the story in this way trying to hide. Is Oboshimeshi the tragic think known the fact to myself. Now come to Lord of the Temple Hyobu is wretchedness. Will you be sick that time it was also made you think too. The feelings of the temple also become seems your pathetic. As is any case, that of the people that does not issue the mouth also. Even you quit that sported to speak became. Nakamaya gently in small vizier. General is sorry because I talked to Fum is still that of that person. I but was about to become that story. Certainly because there was also that it cannot be said also decided that it. To say your mind sink could not be. Because you've had to hear and also various questions to bishop. To not say things like feel to shame. Give talk that was said of the bishop in passing of another story that there has been such a thing. You may leave it. Quote, it became your say-on. Of others that you Oboshimeshi difficult, even your say in the temple like I would like to talk about it is. Although small chancellor were the most do this. It's also gonna okay with it. I have also nay there is also not difficult to say with sorry. This is a small prime minister that it would have being said to order so come with the relationship. Is the temple of the Lord Hyobu was realized. Depending the small chancellor of the room. To Kaoru to make such small talk. The person told the story of the bishop. Surprising 10 million and will not supposed to. Not surprised to hear the unusual story. Even the Nakamaya became asked at Abuji of the house. It seems to have been your mind to be played with this try to talk. There was why Urameshika and thought that it would did not Kudasara said in himself in because they were not told the truth of the death of that person from the beginning. You know committed suicide and people not solved the doubt from it did not say the like. Rather will of the other is leakage that of the truth. Continue to think that since it is not a world that does not Shamawa and may also be seeking to secretly a party to each other. The person who was the purpose of suicide is also a small prime minister it was and should not. Kaoru to feel still mouth heavy that out to say that. It is a story that is similar to still be people who do not even sunny with suspicious today. So, the person to you still alive, and say, seems to have nasu to the nun on the day that bishop came out from the mountain. Heavily on even while you are suffering from. But people were there so did not the nun at all regret it. Like the person himself by all means become so saying and became bishop now we say. Quote, small chancellor replied, location also available in Uji. For it is only possible to everyone sign come to think of that time. It will be able to do here more details if the search for the person become himself very hard also. It would be seen as a man was simply too much from people. Also be sure to throw away if there is to enter the ears of that temple will approach you not to Put your will to become as it prevents even once entered the Buddha of your disciple of the road. Already, palace no is to come in. For in order to become to put you asked in the story so as not to details also boss it to general. While they went into this unusual story as your ears. In your own did not Kudasara saying Nakamaya unexpected might. If the temple is then become yet come is try to continue that relationship. Even if no matter how loved that person, yourself let decided to think that the person who died the other remains at that time. Life and death of lines space 2. I think that people someday will wait for the unexpected may sometimes be met with still lapping blowing of the wind in the banks of the yellow of the fountain. It is better not to agony and the like intends very well to use the mind in order to get back his mistress. It was general. Again, although the touch was to thinker would not try and also basa to talk. I wanted to know where to oboshi meshi of Nakamaya. Kaoru making opportunity while some down to talk. The person who was my thought had not suddenly die has been told the story. Such is available to you still in this world. Eye bleaching. Although such a thing should that it would be is probably not. Also, such as suicide if I thought that was not a strong nature can our shine. Also there is likely to be as it has to look good help as we have the personality to people like that story. Quote, and to say, the story before I would like to find into that of Hyobu Lord of the Temple. The Fu pay respect, to talk not said by me in as I say your resentment. If you have there then be alive are picked up as in the ears of that person. Shiranufu be because I there that seemed a missing a fool of the ability to see suspect the woman still alive and to I think also whether I will to put it. Quote, it was the Mosu with, it is evening that bishop has the story of Uji. I because it was night to the feel like scary. Detail it is that it did not ask me. Hyobu supposed to become circumtemporal as know of is not in the absolute. Because anything of that it is trying without the nature of the criticism. Such person I is also not well tansoku. Let alone to its talking let will be to cause you trouble. Come is said only that it is frivolous amorous man in love problem since the person I become. I am sad. Quote, Nakamaya became this Seth. People since it is intelligent it is even than it was in Yawa. I thought and would not be necessarily made in addition to your leak Kaoru. Living in the house will be where to find oh no. It also out to that person to make appearances in what way. If there is a need to also know anyway the detailed try anything from the first to the bishop also. Had Kaoru Akakor's Omo and I and just this thing. The 8th day of every month and has become a sure habit to perform a Buddhist memorial service of something. Because was also sometimes go-gen. Also to Hiazan because there be a Buddha memorial service Yakushi at that time. I will YOLO to the bottom of the return to Yokogawa. I went even put into subjected to his half-brother of Yukifune. Even those people who toka mother-brother dwelling that be known immediately. Unexpected may become possible to visit immediately none of the house today on account of its place. At that time, which achieve a reunion like a dream. I might have wanted to do be good to make remember the familiarity of worldly connection. Even after it was found with that person. Go to the place where the strange nun who, and the like is there to be heard. Such as unexpected fact would be sad. Kaoru even the way the case was a lot of agony is there. Thank you for your viewing. If you like please subscribe to the channel. I am very encouraged.